Hello, everyone. This is Michael Justin Lee, the president of the Ivy Dream. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Aspire, our podcast channel in which we talk with current students and recent graduates of the most elite universities. Today, we're very happy to be joined by Ben Hokenson, a current student at my own undergraduate alma mater, Brown University. Thank you for joining us, Ben.
Thanks for having me, Michael.
Ben, could you start with us back in high school? What attracted you to Brown?
Yeah. So for me in high school, I was really involved in extracurriculars, and a, a lot of those extracurricular pursuits were projects that I started on my own. And what attracted me about Brown was the freedom with which you can operate as a student. So not only is there the open curriculum where you can decide what courses you want to take and make them relevant to exactly what you want to study, beyond that, extracurricularly, Brown does an excellent job of supporting students who want to pursue projects such as starting clubs, starting ventures, and more. So Brown seemed like a great place for me to my continue my intellectual exploration academically and extracurricularly based on how I approached high school.
Yes, Brown's open curriculum is indeed something that attracts many people from all over the world to Providence. Uh, Ben, what were your extracurricular and academic interests when you were in high school?
Yeah, so there were quite a few of them, but some of the ones that were most important to me were related to singing. So I was in an a cappella group for all 4 years of high school. We did a lot of singing around Philadelphia and also got the chance to sing internationally in Denmark, which was a great experience for me. Um, I also, on that note of traveling, got the chance to travel quite a bit as a student through my extracurriculars. So I went to a school called the Haverford School, and I had a scholarship there. And that scholarship was not only for tuition, also when I went on global travel study programs, I had heavily subsidized prices. And my mom, who I'm really grateful for, made it a point to send me on as many of those programs as she could. So in high school, I got the chance to travel to India, Cambodia, Denmark, Ecuador, and when COVID was happening, um, I was going to go to Cuba and Ireland, but those trips were canceled. Uh, I also performed in several musicals. I was the singer in a rock band. I sang the national anthem solo all over the place in Philadelphia, leading up to a performance at the Wells Fargo Center. So I was very musical. Um, and then using my passion Engaging my passion for entrepreneurship, I also organized some charity concerts with my a cappella group, brought schools from all over Philadelphia to perform in support of an organization called Techo that supports impoverished Latin American communities. And I've fundraised for an organization called Kiva that facilitates microloans to small business owners around the world.
Oh, that's quite a lot of activities for high school. Congratulations on them all. How did your interest in entrepreneurship arise from in high school?
Well, I kind of grew up surrounded by entrepreneurs as my role models. So when I moved to Mexico when I was 4 years old and lived with my mother. But my uncle was also there, and he started a real estate company after leaving the United States and setting up shop in Mexico. My other uncle, who is a great mentor of mine, has always been an entrepreneur since high school himself. So the people I've looked up to and sought advice from a young age and continue to today are entrepreneurs, and I definitely think that rubbed off on me.
Oh, that's wonderful. What a great upbringing. Did your mother push you towards all that much international travel, or was that very of great interest to you already?
I've always wanted to see the world. I've continued traveling ever since high school, and she made it a point to send me on as many of these international excursions as she could. And that definitely got me I definitely got the travel bug early and had continued my global exploration since then. And now I've been to about 33 countries.
Oh, that's more than most people can reach in a lifetime. I'd like to come back to your international travels in a bit. But first, now, Ben, let's talk about college applications. We mentioned already that you were quite attracted to Brown's open curriculum. How did you approach the application? Brown's application, like many others, it gives you quite a latitude to say what you want. How did you approach it?
Yeah, definitely, I agree. The way I approached it was, you know, like I said earlier, Brown is a very free flowing, free form university where you can kind of take the approach that's right for you. And with all of that flexibility, something that is crucial to demonstrate is that you can take that flexibility and actually put it to use. So when you go to a school like Brown, there's a risk of becoming overwhelmed by the choices and the options for everything that you can do because there's really nothing you can't do from Brown University that I've seen. And yeah, something that's important in the college application for Brown is showing, how are you going to hit the ground running? So painting a clear picture of different initiatives that I wanted to pursue at Brown was a vital part of my application, I'd say. The other thing is that I tried to be as authentic as possible so that people reading my application would really be, seeing me for me and not necessarily viewing me against a pool of other similar applicants. And at that point, it sort of becomes like, here I am, take it or leave it. And that was how I felt about the Brown application. And that's aligned with the advice I've been given from Brown alumni when I was applying and the advice I give to my students today who apply to universities like Brown.
Indeed, indeed, authenticity is something we emphasize very much in our work as well. Ben, what are you majoring in?
I study international and public affairs and entrepreneurship. The entrepreneurship certificate is 5 courses. You get some are required, and then others can be fulfilled via electives. So you can kind of tailor it again to specifically what your interests are, and that really follows the ethos of Brown University overall. But with the core courses, it ensures that you have a skill set to pursue entrepreneurship in the future.
hmm hmm did you know that you would wanted to do this application time to address it in your essay?
Honestly, I didn't. I wanted to start off my time after college in a corporate environment, so I always aspired to work for a firm like Goldman Sachs. And entrepreneurship really was not, it was something that I, looking back, have always been engaged in from, even middle school. But I never really was able to put a definition on what I was doing until I showed up to Brown University, where I joined the student run entrepreneurship program and organized a lot of conferences during COVID that were virtual, hosting founders and investors, hearing their stories. Through all of this exploration, I learned and came to appreciate what entrepreneurship is. And that interest inspired me to pursue the certificate of entrepreneurship. And since making the choice to pursue that and continuing with entrepreneurial activities, I've fully come to learn that I want to be an entrepreneur now and moving forward.
Did you have the chance to bring this interest out during your interview?
Honestly, I do not remember my interview too well, but I don't think we talked much about entrepreneurship. We talked more about I asked a lot of questions about my interviewer's background to get a sense of what to expect from Brown. So I used the interview as a chance to, of course, go over the reasons I wanted to attend Brown, and I definitely, when giving those answers, was talking a lot about what I've been mentioning, the freedom and the flexibility that attracted me. But I also used the interview as a chance to learn what the interviewer liked about Brown, and why they continue supporting it by being a volunteer interviewer for candidates and whatnot.
That's something I do myself as an alum interviewer of applicants. Um, Ben, how did you select your those who would write your letters of recommendation?
I followed the advice of my high school college counselors, and I was quite close with my English teacher, and I had a great experience with my history teacher as well, both from junior year. So I asked them to write my letters of recommendation because I felt that they had seen me operate as a student as well as, a peer with my classmates, and felt that they could give a good perspective as to why I would be successful at a place like Brown.
hmm That's great. Then, overall, what aspect of your application do you think made you stand out the most? Can I assume that your grades and SATs were top notch?
Actually, this is something that I tell my mentees nowadays who are applying to colleges. My grades were fine. They were more than fine. They were good grades. But my I took the ACT, and my standardized testing was quite below the average that Brown admits. I had a 30 on the ACT, and I believe Brown's range at the time was, 34 to 36, essentially. So it can, it's not a huge discrepancy in points, but it can definitely knock your confidence when you're competing with that caliber of applicants. I think what really made my application stand out was my essays. Like I said, I was as authentic as I possibly could be. So I really felt that the application I submitted was an application that only I could submit. And I think really narrowing in on specific anecdotes and using those as a way to share deeper insights was how I was able to really shine through as a person through my application.
Wonderful, wonderful. Ben, I happen to know you're out of the country right now. So, is this a part of the academic program that you're on?
So here's, another thing that's great about Brown and its flexibility. I'm actually taking leave this fall. I have one semester left at Brown, and in that semester, which will take place in the spring of 2025, I only have to take two courses. One of those courses will be the final course in the entrepreneurship certificate, which is the practicum, which is essentially kind of an incubator style course where you work on your venture the entire time. And the other will be an elective. And the reason I was able to do that is I worked with the deans at Brown University. Dean Bhattacharya specifically helped me a lot. And I was able to adjust my timeline as a student by lowering my course load overall each semester and then getting an additional ninth semester with two courses. This is something that I did because when I started at Brown, it was the COVID year. So my first semester was completed remotely from Mexico, where I was living at the time, and I only took one course. And then we came to Brown on campus for spring of 2021, where we were in person on campus, but there were a lot of restrictions. So basically, no social gathering was allowed by the university. And from spring 2021, we went straight into Brown's first ever and only summer semester, summer 2021. Finished first year of college, and then went straight to the fall. And from there, did sophomore year. And I had my first real summer break after sophomore year. So what that meant was that if I was going to finish on the normal timeline with which I matriculated by graduating 2024, I would have only had 3.5 years in college, and that definitely was not enough for me, especially since I got the chance to go to Brown, which was my dream school. I felt I needed more time to be there to take advantage of, the opportunities and resources that I've already been alluding to. So yeah, now I'm based in Taipei, but I've been traveling around Asia quite a bit and am working on a few different ventures which I can build remotely using my laptop. And then occasionally we'll have in person meetings, whether it's in Tokyo or Los Angeles or other cities that my business partners are in.
Oh, that's very interesting. Ben, would you like to share some details of what you're working on?
I have a few different kind of businesses, if you will. One of them is just me as a mentor. So I mentor high school students who are applying to colleges, college students who are, you know, in college and want to kind of get advice from someone like myself. And I mentor business school applicants as well. So that's kind of one of my businesses. Another is inspired by work that I did at Brown University. So my sophomore through junior year at Brown, I collaborated with Sheila Haggerty from the Nelson Center of Entrepreneurship to organize Japan Synapse, which was a year-long program that started virtual during times of COVID restrictions and moved into an in-person trip to Tokyo and Kyoto, during which we brought 10 students and three uh, faculty staff members from the Nelson Center for Entrepreneurship, fully funded to explore Tokyo and Kyoto, meet entrepreneurs, founders, learn about the history and culture of Japan, as well as familiarize themselves with the entrepreneurship landscape there. So, what I'm working on now is scaling that to make it more financially sustainable. Um, Not taking donor funds every single year, but trying to see if we can get actual student entrepreneurs to come and explore Japan as a place to launch their ventures. So I've partnered with a company called Launch Stars. Um, Kenny and Satoshi are the founders who have a lot of experience helping Japanese startups expand to the US market. And now we're seeing if we can do the other way around, where we're taking US entrepreneurs and jumpstarting their careers in the Japanese entrepreneurial landscape.
That's quite a lot that you're doing there. Then, may I ask then, with so much of your endeavors is being in Japan, how did you select Taipei to base in?
That's a great question. So, actually, my best friend from high school, his name is John Williams. He went to Georgetown School of Foreign Service and studied Chinese there and also studied it in high school all 4 years. So, John came to live with me during the fall of 2023 when I studied abroad at the University of Edinburgh. And midway through that semester, he moved to Taipei to continue his language learning. And I'm in Taipei now until basically John will be leaving. And my plan is to move to Tokyo as soon as John goes back to the United States. But yeah, really, this was a chance to live with my best friend from high school, which I've always wanted to do. So it's been a great experience so far.
Ben, have you found life at Brown to be exactly what you were looking for when you applied?
Definitely. I think that that intellectual freedom that Brown provides attracts an extremely diverse student body population. So what I've loved about Brown is that you never know what someone does, what walk of life they come from, but you can pretty much guarantee that they're going to be great at whatever it is. So I've had the chance to learn so much from people interested in everything from deep space exploration to entrepreneurship to art to making documentaries. I mean, it's such a thriving intellectual community where you really can meet anyone and you never know what they're up to. And that's what I love about Brown. And again, whatever it is that they're up to, it's going to be something rather remarkable. And you know, if you take the chance to learn from whoever it is you're meeting, you're going to walk away with some valuable knowledge.
I'm very happy to know that it wound up being what you were looking for too. Given all your studies, all your activities, have you had much time for, so to speak, social life?
Definitely. So there's a lot of concerts that happen either in Providence or in nearby cities such as Boston. So I've gotten the chance to go to plenty of live shows with my friends, which I love doing. At Brown, there's quite vibrant student life as well. So even if it's um, so it can be from the university itself with events such as Spring Weekend, which is a music festival Brown puts together every year, or just going to the GCB to hang out with friends who are um, taking a break from their studies. There's always something that you can get up to at Brown.
Indeed. Have you continued with your music?
I have, and I released a EP during my first year at Brown, um, in that spring semester of 2021. Since then, I've been working on writing new music and recording it, and I haven't gotten anything ready to the point where I'm going to release it yet. Soon, soon, I'm predicting there's going to be more music out there made by me.
And you're within a year of graduating. What will be your immediate plans, do you think?
Yeah, so right now I'm focused on fully diving into my entrepreneurial endeavors, and my goal is to create something, whether it's a mix of these projects or one of the projects I described really takes off, something sustainable, so I can get to a place where I'm essentially building ventures after college. That's my goal. And I'm definitely open to getting more training from the corporate environment, but yeah, I have this time now. I've taken leave from Brown for the fall semester, spending the summer abroad, focusing on my projects, and hope to be working on something long term after college.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great goal. Well, now, Ben, let me just jump several decades into the future. What would you consider to have been a successful life?
Great question. To me, a successful life will be one where I can look back and feel as though I lived mostly in the moment, and through the pursuits that I undertake, I hope to help people in some form. So I want to leave a positive impact on communities around the world and, enjoy the ride as well.
That's wonderful. Then you have our sincerest hopes that you will, in fact, achieve that success that you just described. To our audience, I'd like to tell you how grateful we are to Ben Hokenson for coming on our podcast and to talk about everything that he experienced in high school about Brown and now at Brown. And Ben, once again, I'd like to thank you for coming on, and we wish you the best. We'll be following your career.
Thank you, Michael. It's great to meet you, and this was a good conversation.